All right, episode 6 of our trade guide video series. This is the Pacific Division, and you can catch episodes 1 to 5, starting with the Atlantic Division on YouTube. We've got the Western Conference Big Trade Guide out on ESPN.com. The Eastern Conference Trade Guide is also out. In-depth analysis, what to watch, trade meter, front office history, draft assets, financials, one trade we'd like to see. And we are going to talk a little bit about the Pacific Division. And when we talk about the Pacific, we are going to start with the LA teams. And I think for the Clippers, we saw last year when they made the Norman Powell, Robert Covington trade for Eric Bledsoe and, Keon Johnson and that group there, second round pick, that they do have the assets to go out and make a big deal. Although, some of those first are being controlled by Oklahoma City from the Paul George trade. They've got a trade exception at $9.7 million. They've got a first round pick in the future to trade, starting in, they can trade either 2028 or 29. They can't do both. They've got 6 seconds. They've got an open roster spot. They also have a $145 million tax penalty. So if you use that $9 million exception, that will cost you dearly here. And I think the focus for them, we've seen a rotating door at point guard. 2 focuses. A rotating door at point guard. We've gone from Reggie Jackson to John Wall, the Terrence Mann. John Wall's out. Reggie Jackson's going to be a free agent. Those 3 guys rank in the bottom, the Clippers point guard situation in, certainly points, assists, field goal percentage. For me with the Clippers, and I had them as my team to get to a conference finals, and I apologize to people in Denver and Memphis. I love their depth. I think their depth has saved them this year because we've had 16 different starting lineups, and Paul George and Kawhi have been on the court 15 games. Their depth has saved them, and they would probably be fighting for the 10th spot instead of probably being in that top 6. But there's, hey, you lose 3 games, you might be fighting for 10. What do you do with the Luke Kennards, the Covingtons of the world? You've got a bunch of, you've got those sweet spot contracts here. You have 9 players ranging from $3.4 million to $17 million. And you have 6 seconds to trade. Do you go out and target a player like Fred VanVleet, who could become a unrestricted free agent this offseason? What is the cost to acquire him? Originally, I had Terrence Mann, Covington, Amir Coffey, 2028 first, protected, I think, top 5. That's a little rich. That's a little bit rich for Fred VanVleet. Would Brandon Boston, Jason Preston, Coffey, Covington, a first, does that get it done? I don't think it does, knowing the history of, remember, there's still a little bad blood. If I am in Toronto, and this is going back to 2019 when Kawhi left. I'm squeezing the Clippers out of everything possible for Fred VanVleet, if that's going to be something that's talked about down the road here. But I think from the Clippers' perspective, point guard is certainly a focus. You have the assets to go and try to make a big splash. It's a matter of a team bites. I think you need some depth at your center position. You've got Moses Brown on a 2-way. You can convert him. You only have the veteran minimum, so the most you can sign him to is 2 years. You do have an open roster spot here, but keep it. Don't sleep on the Clippers as far as a team going out there trying to make a big splash, looking to upgrade that point guard position here. The Lakers, right? We've talked about the Lakers forever. I open up the Lakers section talking about, certainly when Rob Pelinka addressed the media in the offseason about LeBron's legacy and after he signed the extension and how he owes it to him from a roster standpoint here. And man, it's crazy. You go on Twitter and what's trending, and I think Rob Pelinka's trends every day after the Lakers lose here. And for everyone out there yelling for him to go out and make a deal, like what deal are you going to go out and do? You're going to trade a first-round pick for Josh Richardson? You're going to trade a first-round pick for Jakob Poeltl, guys who can become free agents? You can do that. Sure, you can do that right now. Why? Are you going to trade a first-round pick for Kyle Kuzma, who can become a free agent? You can sign him outright. That's what you are faced with. The question is, do you go out and make a deal where you're sacrificing one of these picks for a marginal increase when you can go out and sign these players 4 months from now? That's the big decision that this Lakers front office is going to have to answer. Do you wait into the offseason? And it's like, man, wait into the offseason. LeBron's out there giving you 48 at 38 years old when you have $35 million in cap space. I have news for you that you can't go out and trade for Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal and give 2 first-round picks. You don't have the cap space to do it. Those players don't fit in there with LeBron and AD making, $90 million here. So you can't go in that direction here. We don't really write about Westbrook a lot. Certainly we know about his contract. He's on an expiring here. But there are a lot of questions that the Lakers have to answer in the next 3 weeks. They've got 2 seconds. Let's see what the seconds can go out and get you. The trades that we put out there in play, for the Lakers is Beverly and the Bulls 2023 second for Josh Richardson. That's what I'm looking for. That's the type of deals. I don't think Emmanuel Quickley from the Knicks is available in a trade. And that's the one and remember, this is the trade we would like to see from the Lakers' perspective. Kendrick Nunn, 2027 first, top 7 protected for Emmanuel Quickley. That's what I am looking for. Those are the type of deals that the Lakers would have to make a decision on here. You can go get Kuzma for 2 first, but then you could just sign him outright here. So there's a lot to digest where the Lakers are right now. We know what they have to offer. Now it's a matter of what does ownership, what does the front office. It's Patrick Beverly, it's Kendrick Nunn, it's the 2 seconds, it's the 2 first, right? That's kind of what you're looking at. Westbrook, if something monster comes along and all of a sudden Zach LaVine becomes available. I don't think that is going to happen here. So that is from the Lakers' perspective here. Golden State, Jekyll and Hyde, right? Good on the road, good at home, average at home, poor on the road. They had a good win in Washington the other day. They are not known to make deals during the regular season. They made the Wiggins for Russell swap in 2020. They are not known to do deals at all. This is what you have. Wiseman, and then you're looking at your final roster spot. Your final roster spot is likely you're going to convert Anthony Lamb into a rest of the season. That's kind of what you're looking at. Probably not the buyout market. Remember, guys on 2 ways are not eligible for the playoffs. I think for Wiseman, and I've talked with Zach Lowe and Brian Windhorst about it, and I know when you draft a player with the 2nd overall pick, now he is in, he is in year 3, right? He missed last year. Eventually, you're going to have to make a decision as far as if he's part of your future. I don't see James Wiseman stepping on the court during the playoffs and being part of the Warriors' 9-man rotation or 8-man rotation. Are you willing to sell low to go out and get players that can help you right now? I floated for the trade I'd like to see for the Warriors. Wiseman and Moody for P.J. Washington, Jalen McDaniels, and Mason Plumlee. And I get it. Wiseman, you've drafted 2nd. Moody, certainly a lottery pick. Washington's going to be a restricted free agent. McDaniels, unrestricted. Mason Plumlee, unrestricted. Those 3 guys will help you. Those 3 guys will boost your depth and give you 9 legit players to roll on the court right now. Those guys will help lessen the minutes for Draymond Green or Jordan Poole or Klay Thompson here. I don't think if I'm Charlotte, that's not enough for me. I don't think. Especially What is Wiseman and Mark Williams? I don't know. But that's kind of the idea when I'm looking at if there's a deal out there regarding Wiseman, that's kind of what to focus in on here. They don't have many trade assets, right? Process of elimination. Take Curry off the board, Thompson off the board, Poole off the board, Green off the board, likely Looney. Now you're looking at the guys like Dante DiVincenzo and your former lottery picks, starting with Wiseman. So that's Golden State. When we look at Phoenix is interesting. It's, trade meter 10, right? I mean, you've got to figure out Jay Crowder. I mean, basically he's been sitting on the sidelines. I don't understand how that situation has not been resolved. I don't understand how it could not have been resolved in the beginning where both sides need each other. Crowder to be on the court to improve his trade value, even if he does not want to be there, to help Phoenix. They can basically audition him for he's been sitting at home for a guy whose offensive game has deteriorated. He has been sitting at home, and I know he gives you that playoff experience, 2 finals, but man, I'm not giving up a first-round pick. The trade I have here is Connaughton and Nwora, and I don't think Milwaukee would do that. I would maybe Connaughton and George Hill. Connaughton's extension restrictions about to lift, and that's kind of what you're looking at here. So, and then there's the situation with the ownership situation as far as can they take back money in a deal, right? We have a transition here. Sarver's suspended. Can they take back more money and go into the luxury tax? I don't think anything with Ayton. I think that's probably more in the offseason here. But this is a team that's kind of sinking because of the injuries here. But I think Jay Crowder is going to be your focus. And then the final team is Sacramento, man. There is light at the end of the tunnel for the 4th seed in the Western Conference, the Sacramento Kings. Golly geez. And I'm sure those fans in Sacramento that light the beam have been waiting for this for a long time, and they deserve it. Really, for them, it's Rashawn Holmes, Alex Len, and then to an extent, Terrence Davis, right? I think Davis is only if you can get something of good value. I think how do you improve defensively? What does Len and Holmes or one of those two guys get you anything at all? Certainly, they're a team that has they've got a $4 million trade exception, so maybe they're a little bit of a buyer for teams looking to shed money here, but I don't think they have to do anything. I like their starting 5. Harrison Barnes extension eligible. You've got Malik Monk, Davion Mitchell, Trey Lyles has played great. If there's anything, it's one of those 2 centers, but Holmes has got a few years left on his contract, 2 years. I think the second year is a player option. But that's kind of the focus on Sacramento, kind of singles, just tweaking around the edges. So that is episode 6. You can catch all 6 episodes on YouTube.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.